Bold colors.
Is white that bold?
Good afternoon, it's Andrew from Time and Tide.
Hello, my name's Warner.
It's raining outside, which is setting an appropriate Doxa mood for us. We're not quite submarine, but you know, rain is on brand for Doxa, so is water.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't get that bad.
Doxa released one of the most amazing watches. It's the Doxa Sub 300 Carbon White Pearl. If you haven't heard of the watch yet, Doxa's one of the coolest watch brands, and they just came out with an amazing colorway just not too long ago, and it's going to blow your mind in this video. That's right, we're talking about the first ever carbon dive watch with a fully luminescent dial, and it's every bit as epic as it sounds. Imagine a dive watch that looks sleek, stylish, and futuristic by day, then transforms into a glow-in-the-dark underwater beast by night. This Doxa Sub 300 Carbon White Pearl isn't just another watch, it's a revolution in dive watch design. Wow, Doxa, what will you do next? This one is breaking all of the rules and setting new standards. Forget boring traditional watches. This one is designed for people who want to stand out, turn heads, and make a statement.
Hopefully it doesn't get that bad. If you start to see us floating, you'll know. It's all about a bold, I would say bold, new colorway for Doxa. They've consistently had their Doxa colors over the years, and that has changed. Now, before we get into that, I want to ask you a very serious question. What are you wearing today? What is on your wrist? I am wearing the Sub 200 White Pearl, which is exactly what we're going to discuss.
That's it. That's the first of the White Pearl collections, and I'm wearing the best of the Doxa. I might be slightly biased, but it is the Time and Tide limited edition 600T Pacific.
That's exactly right. And this is an interesting side point. That is one of the only times Doxa has broken with their color code. And then shortly after, or before, I can't remember when this was released, but this one came along, which was a new color for Doxa. People are used to, let's just reel through them. We have the Caribbean, we have the Professional, we have the Shark Hunter, we have the Sea Rambler, and we have the
Yellow one.
Yellow one.
Which is the Diving Star.
Diving Star. So they're the colors you know and love from Doxa. This was added as a one-off in the Sub 200. This was added as a definite one-off Pacific in the Sub 600T. And now we see the White Pearl expanding across all of the Doxa models.
That's right. So the ones that we have in front of us, just a brief overview, we've got the Sub 300 Carbon, the 300, the 300T, 600T, and finally the big boy, the 1500T. So the Chronos are not getting the White Pearl treatment yet, but it only seems like a matter of time.
Yes. Now the reason we don't have everything in White Pearl here is that they haven't been produced yet.
Exactly.
So we've seen models that we will throw to in Geneva recently, but we do not have them in our hands. Now, Borna, where do we want to go? Because can I tell you where I want to go?
I mean, you're the boss.
Well, look, I'm only saying this out of sheer passion for the watch, and that is the Doxa Sub 300 Carbon with a full luminescent dial was a heart-stopping watch for me in Geneva. Also, James Stacey from Hodinkee had the same reaction. We were regaled with all the new watches from all the brands, and both of us were fixating on this little White Pearl with luminescent dial. It is such a stunning watch. I want to start there. So do you want to start telling people about the specs?
No, that's great. Thank you for making me feel even worse on missing out on Watches and Wonders. But as far as the 300 goes, the full name being the 300 COSC, actually.
Yes.
Guys, the Doxa Sub 300 Carbon White Pearl watch isn't just another watch. It's a revolution in dive watch design. One that's breaking all the rules and setting new standards. Forget the past. Why is this watch so controversial? It's because it's totally unlike anything you've seen before. Doxa has always been known for their bold colors. We're talking the Caribbean, Shark Hunter, and Dive Star. But this new White Pearl collection is a jaw-dropping leap forward. This is not just another white dial. This is a watch that will make people stop in their tracks and ask, what's that? Here's why. The Sub 300 Carbon White Pearl has a dial that's totally luminescent. It literally glows in the dark. in an insanely vivid green and blue colorway. It's like staring into an ocean of stars. And that's not all. The carbon case gives it an ultra light feel. So it's like wearing a piece of the future on your wrist. But don't take our word for it. These watches have been making waves since they were unveiled. And the hype is real. People are calling it the ultimate badass featherweight dive watch that combines cutting-edge tech with timeless design. What's the catch? There isn't one. You can finally get your hands on this luxurious watch for only 3,890 euros. And trust us, this is an absolute steal for a watch that brings us much style and performance to the table. The specs, don't even get us started. The Sub 300 Carbon is built like a tank with a forged carbon case that's so durable it could survive a dive to the bottom of the ocean, and a sapphire crystal for ultimate protection. Not to mention the iconic helium release valve, which speaks to Doxa's rich heritage in the dive world.
Carbon cost. We've got a 42.5 millimeter diameter, 13.4 millimeter thickness, and a 45 millimeter lug to lug. So amazingly compact, like all these Doxa cushion shaped cases really are. Like we said, full carbon case, forged carbon in this case. And if you have a close look, you can really see that sort of swirling pattern that they get. It's almost like
the
a
filaments.
chopped carbon. Yeah, it's a really, really amazing look. On this one, we see the orange accents. On the white pearl, those will be replaced by white markers. And the absolute coolest touch, like you said, white pearl dial comes with a full loom treatment.
Yes.
And the loom is bicolor. It's a green-blue loom combination.
Yes, and I'll tell you something funny about this dial, and again, you only get to know this from handling it. When you apply a UV light to it, which really scorches that loom and has it react in a very strong way, you actually get this strange ghost second hand, because in that moment that you expose it to the light, it creates a little line where the second hand was in that second in time. And as the second hand moves past it, you have a full loom dial apart from this line for the second hand. So that is an example of how reactive and how absolutely bold and I would say the particles are so excited in this particular loom paste
sure.
that is very strong.
It's such a great touch because the watch in itself is sort of completely blacked out. With the white pearl, it does come on a white strap, so it ties it in really, really well.
And look, to me, the white edition was, I think it was something of a unisex move in the Sub 200, and we actually tested this watch on one of our beloved employees, Elise. Hi Elise, in Switzerland. She wore this watch and still wears this watch to this day. And look, Elise's TikTok and her videos that she did at that time to us really showed the open snowy fields of possibility that a white color can bring. Now tell me, what do you think about the way this color translates across the range? Because that's how it looks in this watch, but this watch has a reasonable dial, it has classic proportions, whereas all these Doxas, apart from the 600T in my opinion, have these smaller dials and the dial plays less of a part.
That's very true, but you still have these really compact dimensions that wear really well on any wrist. As someone who has smaller wrists, I really appreciate that. And again, in a white color, I think they could work really well. An oversized watch on a small wrist, it can look really, really good. It can work super well. And with the white colors, maybe they're not as bold as these here, not as colorful. They'll blend a little bit more into the overall K shape. It won't stand out so much, but we just have to wait and see, I guess, on different wrists.
Yes. Now, look, let's go through the dimensions of each watch, because I can tell you the way it plays out is this is it's a bit of a whitewashed scheme in that there's not high contrast indexes, there's not high contrast even on the hands. You're seeing white luminescent portions of the hand. So tell me about the dimensions of each of these watches.
So we've already covered it with a 300 carbon, exactly the same dimensions for the 300 itself. So you still have that 300 meter water resistance, 42.5 millimeter case by 45 lug to lug. The 300T here, it loses the COSC movement, but it upgrades to 1200 meters of water resistance, which does add a few millimeters of thickness to a 13.65 millimeter overall overall
Which is still
thickness.
pretty reasonable for 1,200 meters.
1,200 meters, that's very reasonable, especially considering the compact lug to lug. So
Yep.
it wears really, really
You're
nicely.
also bringing that HRV, the helium release valve, into the side of the case,
Exactly
which
right.
speaks to Doxa's heritage, researching that and developing that functionality with Rolex.
So we're following up with the, of course, beloved 600T. Interesting enough, no helium escape valve on this
Yeah.
one, even though it goes to 600 meters. As far as the case dimensions go, we have 40 millimeters in diameter, 14.14 millimeter thickness, and 47.6 millimeters lug to lug. So a bit broader across the wrist on this one, but
It's
still
higher. Yep.
exactly right. But a smaller diameter again, it makes it reasonably compact again. And another interesting point with this one is that it actually comes in two bezel choices, like we've seen before as well. We've got a sapphire or steel bezel option. The sapphire will be in a nice white finish, and also a sort of nice link bracelet or a rubber strap. And that's across all of these, they come with white FKM rubber straps.
This is the only one with that different steel bracelet.
Exactly. The rest are on these sort of beads of rice or this large beads of rice bracelet. It works well with their vintage styling. And once again, we finish off with the 1500T, the big boy, the biggest of boys, the chunky boy. 45 millimeters in diameter, 16.25 millimeters thick, and a 47 millimeters lug to lug. So dimensions are compact. If we sort of take out that height, 21 millimeter lug width with this one, which is quite interesting. It will make strap changes a little bit more difficult, but again, you get that white FKM rubber strap. And yeah, 1500 meters water resistance with this one, and the return of the helium escape valve.
Indeed. So of course across this range you get the option of rubber and steel, but certainly with the carbon, this wonderfully integrated rubber strap. Like I really can put this on a par with an Aquanaut, you know, amongst the highest of the high. And actually the composition of the rubber is, this rubber is made by FKM, who provide straps to Rolex and Richard Mille. So you will be delighted with the quality of this strap, but you will be really quite ecstatic about the way that it integrates. And it's good seeing, people have commented recently on a Tag Heuer Solargraph video we did that showed how well integrated that strap is with that case. So people are really starting to notice these details, and I can tell you this is a surprise and delight element.
Absolutely, you're really loving the carbon.
Yes, the carbon is the one. And it's the carbon and the luminescent dial creating this just heavy monochromatic
Perfect one
vibe.
too, it's awesome.
There's a reason we fell for it.
Yeah.
So there you have it, team. What do you think? Which of these watches, we're obviously handling some coloured ones here, but you've been seeing the B-roll from Geneva. Which one pulls off this minimalist, Arctic, fresh?
Yeah, it is Arctic. It's still high contrast, so it plays with the whole diving heritage that Doxa has, but I just think it'll bring more people into the brand.
Indeed. Let us know in the comments, and also don't forget to tell us what you're wearing. Thanks for watching Time and Tide. We'll see you next time.
So whether you're an avid diver, a collector, or just someone who appreciates high-quality timepieces, the Doxa Sub 300 Carbon White Pearl is a must-have. This is a game-changing watch that brings futuristic style, killer performance, and a whole lot of wow factor. You can bet this watch is going to be talked about for years to come. So which model are you going to grab? The Sub 300 Carbon, the 1500T, the 600T? Leave your thoughts below and tell us which Doxa White Pearl is your dream watch. This is Daniel with Chronosapien. Click, click, click. Have a good night.